to release all the deliverables and file with all the respective agencies so the district can move on to other things they need to take care of. One thing I do want to point out in the financials that you have, you won't see our independent auditor's report, as that we don't put that in our drafts, but the independent auditor's report is an unmodified clean opinion, which is the highest level of assurance that we can give as auditors. Another thing you might see that I think is important to point out if you read the financials, there is 2 restatements that were done. One of them was in regards to GASB, which is the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. Their statement 84, which was the evaluation of the fiduciary activities. And there we, ultimately in the end, the student activity funds that used to be reported as its own agency fund were moved into the educational account. So in order to do that, we needed to restate the beginning balances in the educational fund. The other thing, the other item that we did a restatement for this year, anytime, when you have a new auditor come in, sometimes, we see different things, and we did do a restatement because to report the self-insurance claims, correctly. So that was the other restatement that that you will see. I think the other important thing to point out, we did issue our control deficiency letter, and you can read the different items that we did report. Nothing is, I guess you want to say, scathing. Some of them are just some recommendations and minor things that we can work with the district on, especially the capital asset listing, that moving forward, that they keep a current capital asset listing every year, so it's not all estimates that we're doing. So we will certainly continue to work with the district on that. And I think another important thing to point out too, and I always want to remind boards, we talked about this earlier, we have a management advice in there for the technology, security, and risk assessment. As I stated earlier, we put that in all of our clients' letters, and it's really just a reminder to districts, to really be watching out for their technology and their security risk, especially with a lot of, there's a lot of remote learning and remote working that was going on. So like I said, that's not saying there's anything wrong with your technology or your security here. It's really just a reminder to always be aware of that fact. So does anyone have any other questions or want to discuss anything further?
No, looks like we're okay.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
very
you
much.
again for everything.
Thank you. Okay, next we are up to board reports. Any board member have anything to report out? I always go this way first because you usually have
I
something.
know. Thank you, Joe. I'll try to be quick. So the food drive was really successful. We had, again, 8 full cars of food, and the Avon Cares food pantry volunteers were really grateful. Someone in our community donated almost a pallet full of granola bars, so they were thrilled, and one of the volunteers on our committee was able to watch as some of the families came in, and the kids were like, we get a whole box of granola bars, so that was sweet to hear. Wanted to let you know, I asked about public transportation and the new bill that President Biden signed intentionally because I met with someone on the PACE board, and Waukegan actually uses PACE for their public transportation. So I thought that was an interesting, just some strategy that had been used, and talked with someone on that board, and their new strategic plan is promising to have a completely electric bus fleet by 2026. So just something for your radar. And then finally, very importantly, I wanted to go back to the food drive and thank Mr. Halprin and his staff. They spent quite a bit of time making sure the food was safe. They put out tables for us at no request of ours, but the whole committee wanted me to be sure to thank you, Mr. Halprin, and your staff for that help. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Is this where we report out diversity or equity committee now per our change? Okay.
Yep.
Me and then you? Okay, I was looking at Mr. Lewis. All right, I'm just pulling up the agenda so that I have it in front of me. So our committee met, which was fantastic. And we always start with a review of our norms, which is, I think, really steers us toward the right discussions in the room, which is fantastic. We also had an update from the library. We had been pursuing perhaps some potential partnerships with the library on some educational topics. And so it'll probably be in the spring. And we'll be talking more about that as that approaches. Dr. Glickman gave us a great update on the equity audit, and I wanted to put out the call out to the board that there are going to be some community and parent focus groups available, and so that would be where we as board members would be able to participate and give our input. So if you want to be part of that audit, just make sure when that call for focus group participants come out that you sign up for that, because that'll be where we give input along with the community. Other focus groups happening, of course, internally with staff, and so all of that gets put together into the data. And we also have the BPAC folks very interested in participating, which is fantastic. So thank you, Dr. Diaz, for rallying important part of our community to be part of that audit. And then really the last thing that we did was talk about new members for this upcoming year. And we had 17 staff members and community members asked to be part of the equity committee for this upcoming year, and with some fantastic background and skills and capabilities. So that was super exciting to us. We had just had a discussion about when we get the results of the equity audit, there's going to be a lot of work to do, which is fantastic. However, that's not going to happen until later in the spring. And so we wanted to make sure that we're appropriately bringing folks in and making them feel part of the committee and giving them something useful to do before that. So we talked about some options for that, including doing some small group onboarding with committee members in between now and then, as well as doing some education by both current members of the committee as well as new members that have bodies of work or areas of subject matter expertise to offer us. So we're looking forward to that, and then also looking forward to kind of getting that committee kicked into high gear as we get the results of the equity audit. We've got a lot of great people who I think are really excited about being part of it. And Mr. Lewis, keep me honest if I missed anything.
Okay, anybody else have anything? No? Okay. Now we're up to you, Mrs. Superintendent.
I think you just said we're up to the superintendent report?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know, you just kind of looked at me sideways, so I wasn't sure.
It's not a mask, it messes everything
That
up.
must be it. All right. So first of all, as you know, we have parent-teacher conferences coming up next week on Monday and Tuesday. Monday goes from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m., and Tuesday goes from 7:40 a.m. to 3 p.m., 3:10 p.m., I think, 3 p.m. These conferences will be all virtual, but I do want folks to know that we will certainly be strongly considering giving families an option for virtual or on-site in the spring, as we certainly continue to look at our mitigation strategies. But I think it's very likely that we will have an option for on-site conferences for parents in the spring. And then, of course, following that, we go into Thanksgiving, and I think everyone's very glad to have that break and time with their family and friends. Christy, thank you for talking about the equity audit. I'll also just mention that those parent, guardian, community member groups that Christy mentioned, those focus groups will occur in January. In December, I will send out information and a way for people to sign up to participate. Those focus groups, just like the student focus groups that are upcoming and the staff focus groups that are ongoing, all of those are occurring through Zoom links. So people will be able to be a part of them through the comfort of their own homes. And as we've organized them, we have some that are some parent guardian ones that are starting, that are early evening, late afternoon ones. And then we also have some that are noon, thinking that we could hopefully reach our parents and guardians at all different times during the day that might be able to work for them. As you know, we had our first round of vaccine clinics last Saturday. I do have some data to share with you and a little bit of commentary about how it all went. So we were able to vaccinate 255 children from ages 5 to 11, 255 little ones. 6 people came in for vaccinations who were older than 11 but needed their first round vaccination. And then we gave out 74 boosters on Saturday, so that was great too. This morning, I'll go back to those clinics in a moment, but I need to insert that this morning in my weekly meeting with the Lake County Health Department, I learned that Lake County has the highest vaccine rate in the state for 5 to 11-year-olds. So that feels like something to be really, really proud of. When she said that, I was expecting to hear a really large, high rate. Well, the rate was actually 16.9%. So 16.9% of the 5 through 11-year-olds in Lake County have been vaccinated. Not as high as I was thinking maybe it was going to be, but we have to keep in mind that people are very hindered by availability. And, lots of folks with long waits trying to get an appointment at their doctor, that kind of thing, which is why we were so glad to have these vaccine clinics. Speaking of long waits, I will acknowledge that there were some long waits on Saturday. The 2 clinics ran very differently because they were run by 2 different vendors. We scheduled all of them through IDPH, but for whatever reason, the one at Prairie View was run from a different vendor than the one at GMS, and we were not able to communicate ahead of time directly with either of the vendors except for Adam kind of showing them space and walking through that way. So what happened was the one at GMS actually didn't have times. People couldn't sign up for a time slot. All they could do was sign up and get a ticket, and then it appeared to everyone that their time and their ticket was at 9 a.m. That's because of the system that was being used by that vendor. And so all of the people who were coming to GMS showed up at 9 o'clock. So that's not so great. We'll go back to how we're trying to fix that for the future in a moment. At Prairie View, people were able to sign up with slots. However, just as sometimes happened, they ended up getting backed up. The good news is, because so many people came to GMS first thing, once they cleared all those people out, then they were able to take some of the people from Prairie View. So then Prairie View folks got funneled over to GMS to get their vaccines there. That is in long part due to the help of our wonderful administrators who were on site, who really did the bulk of the organizing. And so I want to thank Mr. Adam Halpern, Mr. Marcus Smith, Mr. Vince Murray, Mr. Matt Malamed, and Mr. Eric Detweiler, who were on site on Saturday. We'll have other administrators on site in our December second round clinic. So speaking of that second round, we are in the process of creating our own process for GMS, because it was confirmed for me today, again, that nope, in December, there's no way to sign people up with slots. They just all have to come at 9 o'clock. So that didn't seem like a really great idea. So we are creating our own system for slots, and I will send that out to the community, and those who got their first round at GMS will be able to get a second round there, but by getting a slot. And they'll also continue to do boosters there as well. So that's what I can share about the vaccine clinics. And I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Woke, who did a really great job today of thanking a very special group of people, so I want to give him a chance to do that publicly.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, but all of the kind words go to our PSRPs. Today, the third Wednesday in November, marks Illinois PSRP Day. For those of you who are not aware, PSRP stands for paraprofessional and school-related personnel. That encompasses our paraprofessionals who work in the classrooms with our students on a daily basis, our operations and maintenance staff who help to keep our buildings clean and functioning, and our office staff who know several of us would be lost without them. Almost 200 individuals across our district are classified as PSRP. We would not be able to do what we do without them. They are extremely hardworking. They take on a lot of work, and the pandemic's been difficult for everybody, but without them, we would not have been able to move forward and help support our community in the ways that we have. So thank you to all of our PSRPs out there.
Thank you. And while we're thanking people, this is National School Board Appreciation Week. Apparently Monday was the official day. I didn't know that till today. But it's a National School Board Appreciation Week. So we have a few ways that we want to share appreciation. One is, I believe, Sue, we have a resolution. What do we have? Okay, so Round Lake, the Village of Round Lake provided a resolution of appreciation, which is on display for you all to take a look at. I wanted to share, well, it's a little quote with all of you. You've probably heard it before. It's from William James. The great use of life is to spend it for something that will outlast it. The great use of life is to spend it for something that will outlast it. And board, that's what you are doing at every Board of Education meeting, with every decision you make, every question you ask, all of the time that you put into the community. So thank you so much for donating your time and very certainly your energy to make a difference for the students and the staff and the community here in Community Consolidated School District 47. Thank you. And then we will thank you again a little bit later with some cake. So Sue and I were thinking, let's just kind of see how long the board meeting goes. Perhaps it will, maybe it'll be short enough that we can enjoy cake at the end. We have some young visitors with us today who maybe also would enjoy some cake. So welcome. Are you from Central or North? Central. Welcome from Central. We don't have cake at every board meeting, but tonight we're having cake. So you came at the right time. And that closes the superintendent's report.
May I ask a question? The statistic you heard from the Lake County about the vaccination rates for 5 to 11?
Yes.
Was that one shot or fully vaccinated? I'm curious. Do you know?
I would have to imagine it's one shot because I don't think anyone can be fully vaccinated
Yeah,
yet.
I was wondering that too, but
Yeah,
usually I
no.
hear that statistic in terms of fully vaccinated 2 shots. So I
Yeah.
was wondering if you had any further information on that.
I've given you everything I have, but in terms of calendar, it makes sense to me that it would be one shot.
All right, thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have the consent agenda, so I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
I'll second.
Braden,
Aye.
LaCroy,
Aye.
Albert,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Mack,
Aye.
and Weedman.
Aye. Next, we're moving on to action items. The first motion is on motion to approve the 2021 tax levy in a total amount of $38,498,428.04, which also includes a resolution regarding amounts necessary to be levied for the year of 2021, resolution to levy certain special taxes for special education district and IMF purposes, Resolution to levy working tax, or working cash tax, and resolution to levy the tort tax.
So moved?
I'll
Second.
second.
Weedman,
Aye?
Miller,
Aye.
Mack,
Aye.
Braden,
Aye.
LaCroy,
Aye.
Albert.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next is a motion to approve the 2021 district audit, which we have received a report on at the beginning of the presentation.
So moved.
Second?
It's a stalemate.
LaCroy,
Aye.
Braden,
Aye.
Albert,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Mack,
Aye.
and Weedman.
Aye. Next item is a motion to approve a resolution to authorize intervention in property tax appeals for Robin Schwartz and an intergovernmental agreement regarding real estate valuation assessments with Grays Lake Community High School District 127.
So moved?
I'll second.
Albert,
Aye.
Mack,
Aye.
Braden,
Aye.
LaCroy,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
and Weedman.
Aye. Last item for action items is a motion to approve the termination of employment for Timothy Christian as an employee of the school district effective immediately. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mack,
Aye.
Braden,
Aye.
Albert,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
LaCroy,
Aye.
Weedman,
Aye. And now we're up to unfinished business. And this only item we have tonight is the 3-year priority capital plan as part of the long-range facility plan.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Adam Halperin. I am Director of Operations and Maintenance. I'm going to present to you tonight our 3-year capital plan that we had already showed to the Finance Committee tonight. So for those who have not seen it, this is a plan that we have talked about for a couple months. Our mission statement: empowering learners, creating equity, and cultivating community. Our strategic plans that we worked on for months to review, expand, and clarify the comprehensive master facilities plan on an annual basis to continue to create equitable, quality learning environments both inside and outside of the buildings to serve our students, staff, and communities with a focus on aligning decision-making to the district goals. Over a 2 to 3 month period of time from June to August, myself, Wold, and Train, our architects and mechanical contractors, did building assessments from the building envelope to indoor air quality. The recommendations made to the Board of Education on September 21st from Mike Eichhorn from Wold Architects. The initial dollar amount that came out was $36.7 million over a 10-year period of time, with 15.7 being prioritized for years 1 through 3. The administration then went back and prioritized the list with Wold and Train for the first 3 years, with the first year coming in at $1.9 million, year 2 at $4.1 million, year 3 at $3.2 million, for a grand total of $9.2 million over years 1 through 3. The 3-year priority list by building comes out to Avon at $1.7 million. And in the first year there, or in the years over there, the plan is to replace 2 boilers, the air handling unit that's original to the building, the building automation, and the roof. Over at Frederick, we are looking at $1.3 million for the roof and the building automation. Over at Grays Lake Middle School, $680,000, which is the fire doors, some ADA washrooms, building automation, exhaust fan, and also included, but not in that price there, is this summer we have $500,000 worth of work going in on the replacement of 5 mechanical units up on the roof. Over at Meadowview, we are looking at $700,000 for replacement of sidewalk, building automation, exhaust fan, and carpeting throughout the school. Over at Park Campus, we are looking at $1.1 million for the replacement of concrete, the building automation, and the exhaust fan work that is needed throughout the building. At Prairie View, we're looking at $1.5 million for the replacement of the roof, building automation, and the exhaust fan work that also needs to be done there. At Woodview, $2 million for the building automation, roof, for a grand total of $9.2 million. As I stated in here, if you paid attention, a lot of it is building automation, stuff that has to deal with air quality and the mechanical systems throughout our district. In the next steps, we are looking at the Board of Education to discuss the 3-year priority capital plan as presented to you, and then move forward with the financing options to complete the work in a timely manner. One district, one direction. Any questions?
Actually, I do have a question. So I heard a lot in there of concrete work and stuff like that. Is there a possibility to kind of bundle those all together as one big project, or are they going to have to go out as smaller projects to be bid?
So that's a great question. The plan is really to try and bundle it together. What I gave you was showing the schools that we're looking at having done. In year number 1, I'm sorry. In year number 2, we're looking at having all the concrete work done. Unfortunately, with roofing work, those are spread out so that later on down the road, we're not looking at doing them all at one time again. All of the building automation it's all a turnkey process that is over a 3-year period of time, signed out at one time, along with the exhaust work and the mechanical work that needs to get done. So we are going to try and bundle it all together.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions? No? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, so we are now up to new business. The only new business we have today is the discussion of our board workshop. Just to recap, we were all there, but on November 8th, the Board of Education participated in a starting right, creating the new governance team, board self-evaluation workshop, and it was facilitated by the Illinois Association of School Boards. They sent out Ms. Laura Martinez to facilitate for us. What we have started a few years ago, or more than a few years ago now, is to have one of these self-governance evaluations whenever we have a new election and we gain new board members, so that we all kind of start on the right page. So this is just a continuation of doing that work. It helps us learn and discuss how to communicate with one another, understand that we're all coming from the same common spot as far as doing what's best for the school district and the kids. It all ties into a lot of our board policy references, and it allows us to update our board agreements that we have a link at the bottom of our agendas every week or every 2 weeks. So the agreements that are there are ones that we had before. We just tweaked a couple of them, and I am drawing a blank on which ones we tweaked. Anybody remember, or I got to fumble through this?
Jim, I think one of them was on just specifying, I think, clearly some of our communication practices, including our clear statement that we do not respond to anonymous emails
Yep,
or any anonymous communications. I think that was one of them.
yep, that is one of the new ones. So the board will no longer respond to anonymous emails or text messages or public comments. So those are, if you have something to say, then we would like you to be able to at least respond back to you, so we need names and email addresses and stuff. So our board agreements are, like I said, on a link at the bottom of our agenda every 2 weeks. And next board meeting, we will look to officially approve the new ones, the updated ones from the old ones. And that is about it. So we were there about 3 hours or so. So, okay. Anybody have any other comments on that? No? Okay. All right. Next is the topics for future agenda items.
Yep, I have a few. So just to go back to what you just said, I think at the next board meeting, we are approving the updated board agreements. Is that right?
Correct?
Okay. Hold on a second. Okay. We will bring back that 3-year capital plan that Mr. Halperin shared and ask for an approval on that 3-year plan. There will be a intent to issue bonds. It's a much longer title, but you heard it this a little earlier through the Finance Committee, an intent to issue bonds request. And Mr. Vipond will be here to do the information about the tech goal. Remember, we were sharing information about where we are with all of our goals, and he's going to do that with our technology goal. And at the moment, those are the only ones that I have.
The intent to issue bonds, what scenario is going to be represented in that? How is that going to get sussed out about which of the scenarios presented by Raymond James will be the scenario that gets sent to us for approval?
Sure. So, and Mr. Waldman, are you on?
Yes,
Okay.
we're gonna have to make a resolution determining the amount. So it will have to be determined before that date.
So I think what you're, okay, let's just make sure we understand. I think that at the next meeting, it's a resolution to issue bonds, and that one doesn't have to have an amount on it. Is that correct?
We will have to have an amount on it.
Okay, so, Chris, are you able, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this. Are you able to make a specific recommendation as to which one of those scenarios you would be recommending?
I would recommend that the district issues $9.1 million
Yeah.
to be received before the end of February.
So that's what the language will be on what we bring to you next month. And that will obviously fit quite nicely with the $9.1 million worth of work through the 3-year capital plan. Not coincidentally. Yeah. Okay. Anything else that anyone has for the December meeting? Remember, we have only one meeting in December.
No?
Okay,
Okay.
great.
So we're back up to public comment. Did we have anybody sign up for public comment? No? Okay. We have no need for a closed session meeting tonight.
We do not?
So the next I need is a motion to adjourn the board meeting.
So moved?
Second.
LaCroy,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Mack,
Aye.
Albert,
Aye.
Weedman,
Aye?
Braden.
Aye.